The Javelin cut through the thin Martian atmosphere at 300 meters per second, its crystalline tip refracting the distant sun into a spectrum of lethal light. Kievan's neural implant calculated trajectory, velocity, and impact point in 0.03 seconds, right through his chest cavity. He caught it. His cybernetic hand closed around the shaft exactly 47 centimeters from the rear stabilizer, the momentum transferring through reinforced bone lattice and dispersing across his exoskeleton frame. The crowd of assembled Jinkari warriors fell silent, their chitinous armor clicking in what Kievan's translator identified as profound shock. The warrior who had thrown the javelin, Jennifer, according to the human designation awkwardly assigned to her unpronounceable Jinkari name, stood frozen in the ritual combat circle. Her four eyes widened behind the transparent face shield, bioluminescent patterns across her carapace shifting from aggressive crimson to something Kievan's database labeled as existential confusion. "Oh no," whispered Dr. Sarah Chen through the comm link in his ear. "Kievan, do you have any idea what you just did?" He hadn't. That was becoming increasingly clear. Kievan had come to Phobos Station as a military contractor, hired to demonstrate human combat capabilities to the Jinkari Confederation. First contact had occurred 3 years prior, and tensions remained high. The demonstration was supposed to be simple: dodge their weapons, showcase human augmentation technology, maybe take a few non-lethal hits to prove resilience. Catching a ceremonial bonding, Javelin was not in the mission parameters. Jennifer approached slowly, her 6 limbs moving with the predatory grace that made the Jinkari such formidable warriors. She stood nearly 8 feet tall, her exoskeleton a deep iridescent blue that indicated high warrior caste. The crowd parted as she crossed the distance between them. "You caught the cattle," she said, her translator rendering her clicking speech into Mandarin-accented English. "No one catches the cattle." "I've got good reflexes," Kievan offered weakly, still holding the javelin. "The cattle is not meant to be caught. It is meant to kill or to miss." Jennifer's mandibles clicked rapidly, agitation, his database suggested. "By catching it, by stopping its flight with your bare hand, you have demonstrated absolute dominance over my attack. You have claimed my honor blade as your own." Dr. Chen's voice crackled through the comm. "Kievan, I'm pulling up their cultural database now. Oh God, oh no, you need to return the javelin immediately." But the Jinkari elder was already approaching, his ancient carapace marked with centuries of battle scars. "Human warrior Kievan," the elder announced, his voice resonating through the dome speakers, "you have caught the cattle of Jennifer Klaschen. By the ancient law of our people, set down before we left our homeworld 10,000 cycles ago, she is now bound to you until death." Bound? Kievan looked at the javelin in his hand, as if it had become a venomous snake. "Married," Dr. Chen supplied helpfully. "You're married now to an alien warrior because you caught a spear." Jennifer's bioluminescent patterns had shifted to deep purple, resignation mixed with what might have been curiosity. "The law is absolute," she said quietly. "I threw the cattle believing you would dodge, as your species dossier suggested you would. The throw was meant to demonstrate my skill, not to bind my life to yours." "I didn't know," Kievan started. "Ignorance does not invalidate the law." The elder's tone was not unkind. "The cattle ritual exists because catching such a weapon requires either perfect compatibility of warrior instincts or divine intervention. Both indicate a bond that transcends mere choice." Kievan's mind raced through his options. Refuse the bond. His briefing had emphasized the importance of respecting Jinkari customs. Insult their warrior culture now, and the fragile peace between species could shatter. Accept. He'd be bound to an alien whose biology he barely understood, whose culture was still being decoded by xenoanthropologists. Jennifer made the decision for him. She extended a primary limb, her hand, essentially, and placed it over his chest just above his heart. Even through his armor, he could feel the slight warmth of her chitin. "I am a warrior of the seventh brood," she said formally. "I do not flee from consequences, even unexpected ones. If you are to be my bondmate, then we will navigate this together. The law requires it. Honor demands it." Her fourth eye, the one that saw in infrared, studied him intently. "Can you do the same, human Kievan, or will you seek to void what has been bound?" There was something in her tone, a challenge perhaps, or maybe a plea. Kievan had spent 8 years in the Rangers before the augmentation program. He'd learned to make fast decisions in uncertain terrain. This was simply another kind of battlefield. "I can do the same," he said, and meant it. The elder clicked his mandibles in approval. "Then, by the authority vested in me by the Confederation, I recognize this bond. Jennifer Klaschen, return to your dwelling and prepare for the integration ceremony. Human Kievan, you will be instructed in your new duties." As the crowd dispersed, chattering in clicking harmonics, Dr. Chen's voice returned to his ear. "Command is going to have an aneurysm. You were supposed to strengthen diplomatic ties, not marry into their warrior caste." "Is there a divorce protocol?" Kievan asked hopefully. "Death," Jennifer supplied, her hearing apparently acute enough to catch his sub-vocalized transmission. "Only death dissolves a cattle bond, typically mutual death in combat, side by side." "Fantastic," Kievan muttered. Jennifer led him through the Genkari quarter of the station, into spaces designed for beings of different proportion and biology. Her dwelling was sparse, weapons on the walls, a few personal effects that meant nothing to him, and a rest chamber that could accommodate both their physiologies, though Kievan suspected his sleep would be uncomfortable. "I know this is not what you wanted," Jennifer said, removing her armor with efficient movements. Beneath the battle shell, her natural carapace was lighter, almost translucent in places. "It is not what I wanted either. I am a warrior, not a, what is your word, wife?" "That's one word for it," Kievan acknowledged. He kept his armor on. Vulnerability seemed unwise. "But the cattle law exists for a reason." Jennifer settled onto a raised platform, her limbs folding in a way that suggested relaxation. "In our history, before we reach for the stars, warriors needed bonds that transcended clan and territory. The cattle created alliances, prevented wars, mixed bloodlines. It forced enemies to see each other as individuals." "Are we enemies?" Kievan asked. Jennifer's patterns shifted to pale blue, thoughtful. "We are strangers, but perhaps that is what our peoples need. Not official delegations making careful speeches, but individuals forced to bridge the gap." She had a point. Kievan approached slowly and with deliberate care removed his helmet. Jennifer's eyes tracked every movement. "You don't have a carapace," she observed. "Your skin is so exposed. Fragile by your standards, probably." "Different." She extended a secondary limb, the appendage far more delicate than her primary arms. "May I?" Kievan nodded. She touched his face with surprising gentleness, tracing the line of his jaw. "Warm," she noted. "We are cold-blooded. Your species maintains internal heat. Inefficient, but interesting." "We think your 4 eyes are interesting," Kievan offered. "They allow me to see more of the truth." All 4 eyes focused on him simultaneously. "And what I see now is a warrior who could have refused, who could have fled, but who chose to honor a custom that binds him to someone he does not understand." "You could have lied," Kievan pointed out. "Told me the catch meant nothing." Jennifer's mandibles curved. Amusement he was beginning to recognize. Deception is not the warrior's path. We face truth directly, even when it complicates our lives. Over the following hours, they talked. Jennifer explained the cattle tradition in detail, its origins in planetary clan warfare, its evolution into a bonding ritual as Genkari society advanced. Kievan shared human bonding customs, the concept of marriage, the complications of intercultural relationships even among humans. Will we? Kievan hesitated. Is there a physical component to this bond? Our biologies are incompatible for reproduction, Jennifer said clinically. But bonding among Jinkari involves shared combat, shared rest, shared purpose, physical intimacy of a sort, though not as your species experiences it. She moved closer. I would show you if you permit. Kievan found himself nodding. Jennifer's primary limbs encircled him carefully, pulling him close to her carapace. It was strange that she was hard where humans were soft, cool where he was warm, her scent something like ozone and distant rain. But there was comfort in the embrace, a sense of protection that transcended species. We face the universe together now, Jennifer murmured, her voice resonating through her chest into his. You are my blade mate and I am yours. Kievan's neural implant pinged with incoming messages, command demanding explanations, xenobiologists requesting interviews, diplomats trying to calculate political ramifications. He muted them all. Together, he agreed, and for the first time since catching the impossible javelin, he didn't regret his reflexes.